just first of all, I think the last time we were speaking to you, what you did say to us that your players were due to come back in for 2 days a week. Has that all started, and what are they up to?
Yeah, they've been in Tuesday, Thursday this week, and they're just ticking over. It's not arduous. It's certainly not a punishment. It's for their benefit, not ours. Well, it is for ours as well, obviously. It's just to keep a level of fitness that is lower than, for the other 8 months of the season, but it's not too low that when they come back they put themselves at risk. So it's giving them a responsibility that if they want to sort of undertake some sessions themselves, then fine. But if they want to do some sessions with a group, then that's also fine, because we'll have a group in. I think there's been about 10 of them, 12 of them on the Tuesday and Thursday. And some have been in Tuesday, some have been in Thursday, some have been in both days, some have been in neither. Which is fine, and we'll log it all down. They've got to do a minimum based on a few things. So yeah, they've started back up, and they'll continue until we're back in full time.
Just looking at it mentally, does it not affect them then? They've just had an arduous season, done terrifically well in League One. That they've only had that couple of weeks break.
It affects them mentally in a really positive way. They're with their mates. They'll be sat at home. They'll walk out the door, do an half-an-hour run, come back in, and sit there for, the remaining 11 hours of their waking day, and do bugger all. Whereas they have to get in the car, maintain the routine, take the mickey out of each other for half an hour, then do more than half an hour. They'll do a proper warm-up and they'll do a cool-down, for example. Never mind some weights. So that they do more, but they know that it's for their benefit. It's not for, I've had my goal. So it's for their career. So, all the while they're with the mates in a nice environment. It's not, if it was us running them, then, when I say running them, there's running involved, but if it was a mental challenge to come in and do the sessions, then I accept that the benefits may be outweighed by the negatives. However, the sessions aren't tailored like that, they're not structured like that. Yes, there's a bit of hard work, but nothing more than they do at home, but they just do a bit more, and it's at their own volition, a lot of it. There's a bit of the session that's structured by us, but then it's like, if you want to do weights, do weights. If you don't, go home. Not a problem. There's no pre-activation and all the rest of it. If you want to do it, do it. It's quite relaxed. It's very relaxed, in fact. So, they want to come in and they want to just hang out with their mates, a lot of them. There's obviously, Chris Paul was in Tuesday, the family man. Why is he coming in at 37? Why? Because he wants to be in, he wants to do it properly. But then you get all the young lads in who haven't got a family. And they want to be with their mates. They want to run around the pitch. Go, well, what else would I be doing? There's only so many episodes of Friends you can watch, or TikTok dances you can watch or do, or whatever they do nowadays. So, there's a huge benefit to it, and on the social side as well as the physical side. And it's good to see him. I have to say, it's good to see him.
Well, one player, we'll talk a bit more about Chris Porter in a moment or so. One player who hasn't been able to get in for the last couple of weeks is your midfield player, in Tom Lowery, who got a call up to join the Welsh squad. Just talk us through that, and what will that do for him?
Yeah, he was in yesterday. I think he was in Tuesday as well. He carried on training with the Scholars for a bit, and Donovan's been in, because Donovan's going away Sunday with Montserrat as well. Listen, I spoke to Tom on was it Tuesday? Tuesday. And I said, how was it? He said, it's sharp. The training was sharp. And I said, right, okay, what about, the passing drills and all that kind of stuff? And he goes, yeah, everything's just a little bit sharper. I said, well, when we're talking to you about the standards in passing drills in the games, do you understand what we mean now? He went, I'll get it. So it's the first thing he said, about the sessions and what have you. So it's a great thing for me as a manager to be able to say, right, Tom, tell them what you told me. So they don't just think it's me being either unrealistic or asking too much of them. They all can do it. It's just that, come on, this is the standard. This is what is required. And Tom's tasted it at the highest level now, and that's a terrific achievement for him. Terrific achievement. And he's got to espouse exactly what he learned in that 4 or 5 days to the rest of the boys, so that we all then go to his level. He really enjoyed it. He said it was good, and he hopes that Wales do well in the summer.
He is one of those quiet boys that you've got, isn't he? That just goes about his business, day in and day out, trains every day and plays all your games when he's fit. Will that help him as though to be in that environment with looking at there was Championship players and Premier League players in that squad?
Oh yeah, I said he was the best player. Joe Allen, unbelievable. No, you can be like him. That's the conversation. Oh yeah. But now he knows exactly how good Joe Allen is because he's trained with him for 4 days. He's a good guy, nice guy. All the individual players. He goes, yeah, he's good. Yeah, I didn't think much of him, but you can see why he's there. All that, and you go, well, that's all part of learning, all part of development, all part of experience, and all that. When you soak it all up, when you take all that on board, it only helps you in your career. It does. There's nothing better than international football, and he's just had a little, very brief taste of it.
Well, you got Chris Porter signed up. He agreed to sign his contract. Of course, he's one of the experienced players. We know all about him. What made you think that you could get another 12 months out of Chris Porter?
The fact that he scored something like, is it 8, 9 goals in 16 starts? That'll do. I don't think there's many of them knocking around. Can he play 16 on the spin? Probably not. I think we both, me and Chris, learned a lesson last season. The fact that he virtually joined in every session, and then he hurt his foot, and he was out for a few weeks. And we said, that was stupid from both of us, and we both accepted that early on in the season because we want Chris Porter available for the games. He's experienced enough and intelligent enough to know how to prepare himself for the games and when he needs to train and when he doesn't need to train. So that'll be the case all the way through pre-season as well. So we know that we've got a good player who knows where the net is, who's coachable still. Without a shadow of doubt, I'm sure he's learned a lot in the last 4 years. He will also pass on that knowledge to others. When he plays in a 2 up top, he's very good at his movements in relation to another striker. So we feel there's a real benefit in Chris that's still to be extracted from him. Otherwise we wouldn't have done what we've done. So, we're going to help him with his A license as well, provide some academy teams for him when he needs that, which will put him onto his second career, I'm sure. But he's still a good enough player to score goals at League One, and that's a testament to him as a professional. And I think how we've sort of taught him how we play. I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm not saying but I think that's important, and I think he's embraced that. If he hadn't embraced that, he wouldn't be still here. But and I think it's ideal for him and it's ideal for us.
Well, your League One will get finalised over the weekend. We'll talk more about your recruitment and what you could be facing next season in a moment or two's time. But it's already that feeling, isn't it? Even there's 2 games to be played to sort out League One over the weekend. The new kits, fixtures, fans are all talking about everything, and pre-season friendlies. And this week, your club was able to announce that wonderful game that you're going to have for Ashton Hume in Stoke City. How big is that for not just for the lad, but for your football club and for your players and for you, that you're bringing Stoke City down to the first team down to the Alexander Stadium?
Yeah, I think it's a terrific gesture by both football clubs for a terrific cause. That's what football does. That's what football does. There's a lot of things in football that probably aren't ideal, and when you get to the nuts and bolts, but stuff like this is Shows why football's a universal game, why it's so loved and revered across the world. Because when somebody's in need, the football family tends to pull together and, you know, and get its act together so that, you know, whatever the situation is can be resolved to the best of its ability through the medium of football. And that's no different. You know, Stoke have been terrific. We're, you know, more than happy to do the game. You know, as long as it doesn't involve running 35 miles or cycling 35 miles, that's fine by me.
Can you inform us of what else is coming up in pre-season friendlies? You must have got it all scheduled now.
Yeah, there's a few other tasty ones. I'm not sure whether the media team want to release it or they're in a position to release it, but there's a Premier League team, a Championship, another Championship team, 2 Championship teams, a League 2 team, and then your local friendlies. So, you know, we've got a decent pre-season schedule this year.
Yeah, if you turn the clock back a few years, there was probably too many, no disrespect to too many local pre-season friendlies. You played a lot, but it looks to me now as though you've upped the sort of tempo in terms of your opposition, you know, the quality. Do you feel that is what is needed for your players?
Yeah, I think, you know, last season, I think the first 6 games in League One, everyone, myself included, we had to get used to it. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case this year. And obviously the level of pre-season friendlies goes a long way to dictate that. So, you know, it's very difficult sometimes as a League 2 team to get Championship teams to believe that you're going to play them and not kick lumps out of them. You know, Burnley come last year. I think it was last year or year before. And we gave them a good game. They were right at the start of their pre-season, and I think we beat them 1-0. They played Vale the same day. And you go, well, actually, there you go. We're not a lumpy, you know, we're not going to kick lumps at you. You know, so you hope that other people see that. And this year's been easier to get the games. You know, I'm sure that's because we're a League 1 team, and the way we play. You know, people might see it as an attractive proposition to play against. You know, I don't know. But you know, the upshot is that we're quite happy with our pre-season schedule, but they're the only, you know, they're the hors d'oeuvres to the main course. Really, it's what happens on August the 8th.
Well, the main course is League 1, and it's mouth-watering, Dave. Already, even though I've just mentioned to you, there's just two places to be filled, and whoever they are, it'll still make that league, you know, extra special. When you look around, I think I've looked at it. There's probably half of the clubs have all tasted Championship football sometime in the career, you know, in the history. Crewe is one of those as well. But I think it's one of those that you relish that challenge, do you? Coming up against these big clubs with big financial budgets.
Everyone's got big financial budgets compared to it. Doesn't change. It doesn't. And you know, I don't even think that really got me violin out. So that's not the case. It's just that's always been the case. It was the case in League 2. It was. There might have been a lot more closer to us, but that has always been the case. You know, I don't know. I think of Shrewsbury spending fortunes this summer. Fortunes. You know, people think we're similar size. They're huge. They're miles bigger than us in terms of resources. Just as an example, that's not me having to go to Shrewsbury or anything. That's just an example. I don't know. Plymouth always been a massive club. I could go through the whole league, you know, and that's so it doesn't change. Whatever, whoever comes up, whoever stays down, you know, Newport will have more money than us. You know, Morecambe probably not. We might go up a place. Woo! But you know, that's what it is. That's what it is. You know, Blackpool, a huge budget this season. Huge budget. They should get in the playoffs. You know, Pritchard's done a great job, but they should have been there. Huge budget. You know, that's fair enough. We drew them twice. You know, that's what we have to do. So whoever wins, whoever loses, you know, whatever the composition of the league, we know exactly where we are. We know exactly how we've got to approach it, and we know exactly what we've got to do in terms of winning football matches, and that's not going to change. So, you know, I wish we were playing tomorrow.
Yeah, is that what you enjoy? You know, getting the maximum out of your players at first team level, and even the ones that you coach day in and day out.
Yeah, I think that this football club is the most efficient football club that I've been at. It gets more bang for its buck than any club that I've been at, because it's so good at what it does. That's a credit to everyone from the chairman and the board all the way through, all the way through the academy coaches and the players themselves. And that's, I'm part of that process. I'm part of that cycle, if you like. So I don't think it doesn't faze me, whatever, Bolton, huge club in Premier League 5 years ago or something, huge club. That's fine. We played them 3 times last year and beat them 3 times. Are we going to beat them twice this next season? Don't know. Hope so. But it doesn't faze us. We respect everyone and fear no one. That's how it is. That's how it is, and it'll always be like that.
Just looking at it, then, I would think apart from a few of the Premier League clubs, which will be definitely out of your reach at the moment, in terms of the availability of players, what's it looking like, Dave? Are you seeing good options and plenty of options and a different sort of time this year from what it has been in previous years?
I think it depends on 2 things really: the player and the agent, but in a different way to sort of previous years. The market this year is definitely fragmented. So there's some players that are still commanding value because of what they are, who they are, and what they've done. And fine, that's like a normal summer. There's a lot of players in that middling ground that believe they are commanding value, and they might be correct. There will be a lot of players in that middling ground that believe they command value and aren't going to get value, what they believe to be value. When you throw in agents, some agents understand how the market is, and they're going, hang on a minute, there's a bit more power to the clubs here because everyone's tightening the belts. Well, I think we best take that, because I know that's not what you want, or it might be, a bit less than what you're on or whatever, but it's just better to stay in football. Or do you want to gamble? Whereas there's some agents just going, I'm not taking that. He were on this and he's scored 4 goals this year, or he's, whatever. We want an extra X. And you're going, really? Good luck. So I think when I think there's going to be some players that are going to be in a whole world of trouble later on in the summer, a whole world of trouble, because there'll be a lot of clubs that don't take 26, 28, 30 players. They'll be at 18, 20, 22. And the wages will be reduced, so I think it's still very cagey. I think there's a lot of agents still trying to ascertain exactly how the market is. And there's going to be some clubs that are spending money, Ipswich's and Sunderland's and, clubs like that, who are going to have a right good go. And Shrewsbury's one of them as well. So, they might, the players, once they might get lucky, them clubs might want them. So you go, fair enough. There will be other players that believe, we had one last year, I'm winning the championship. You end up in League 2, signed in November. It's like, really? Could have been playing for us. There's going to be a lot more of them this summer, a lot more. So I know if I was a player, and I wouldn't be over ambitious in my demands, and I'd be making sure that, if possible, I got done earlier than later.
How do you go about it when you've identified your target then, and you get into talks with the player and the agent? You sort of put your price straight on the table, and that's it.
Well, yeah, we have to. There's no point going through, because of our resources. There's no point going through the whole. This is what we can do. This is what the whole. This is who we are. For them to go, well, I want this. We go, that's our whole budget, pal. There's no point going, we've got to be open and honest from the outset. And if players go elsewhere for money, more money, fine. I just, I accept that that's part of life, part of people. You know, some people aren't bothered about the money. Some people, that's all they care about. You know, what we do, we add value in different ways. You know, we do. We give them the framework to develop, to go on, to become better players, better football people. You know, well, better people, full stop, but certainly better football people. You know, Perry last year got suspended 6 games. He was out scouting. You know, does that equate to pounds, shillings, and pence in his bank account? No, it doesn't. It might just give him a different lens to look through, to see plays in a different way when he's preparing for a game. Might not. He might not. He might have just missed the whole point of it. But it might. You know, that, like I said, it doesn't equate to an increase in your bank balance, you know, in actual real terms. But it might be the reason why he got to Cardiff. You don't know. Because he might have just done a bit of research on the winger that he was coming up against the game after. You know, you get my point. There's lots of different ways that we add value to players because we have to, because we can't pay the wages that others are prepared to pay. But this football club prides itself on its sustainability, on its, you know, never extending itself beyond its reach. You know, I think there's only about 15 clubs or something in the whole of the Football League that haven't been in administration. It's something crazy, something small. You'll have to research the number, but I know that we're one of them. So, you know, that's important, I believe. I think that's how it should be. So, you know, that's how we have to go about our business and speak to the players and their advisors that way. We know that there's advisors that don't even tell their players that we're interested in them. We don't pay agents fees. Fair enough. You know,
so that's ruled out then the rumour that there's £1 million Jermaine Defoe's might be coming to Ipswich. You're not in the running for him, and there's £1 million going to be spent at Sunderland. So you ruled out of all that talks then, Dave. They're not in the recruitment drive. So where are you on your recruitment drive now? A couple of weeks down the line, what can you tell your supporters?
We're making progress. We're making progress. We've got irons in fires. You know, I know I'm sure there'll be the cynical, glass half empty fans. Oh, that's, you know, a lot of rubbish. Or they'll be see we can get. Is that one of the fans' favourites? It's the biggest load of baloney that fans don't understand. Honestly, it winds me up when people say, they'll just see who they can get. Okay. Come and spend a day with me. Show you how hard we work to get the players that's of the right quality. You know, we're working every day, all day, every day. I've just been on the phone to an agent, the player we met yesterday. You know, getting some feedback where we're at. You know, I'll be on the phone in a minute once I've, you know, spoken, finished here. That's how it is. And it's not just a case of we'll see who we can get. It's targeting players that we believe is going to improve us. We were 8 points off the playoffs last year when we should have been in them. And the key is for this coming season to make sure, as a minimum, we're in them, as an absolute minimum. And that means getting the players that will get us there. So we've got to work hard as a group of staff to make sure we get them players. And that's the challenge at this stage of the year.